Hello and welcome to today's video update. Let's find out, is it too late to buy Bitcoin? I'm going to be using technical analysis as well as a Bitcoin investment tool as part of a data science model. So let's dive right into the video. Over the past few days, I was talking about this weekly exponential moving average, the 200 WEMA, figuring as a level, a point of reference for Bitcoin's price. And now we're actually seeing that it's come up above it, retested it as a support, and since then we've seen a 30% rally towards the upside. Overall, an 80% rally towards the upside since the bottom over here. So that's fantastic news, but let's dive in to whether it is too late to buy Bitcoin, and I have a feeling that you might be quite happy with the answer that we'll find out from this investigation together. So here's the Bitcoin investor tool, the 2-year moving average multiplier. Essentially speaking, this green line is the 2-year moving average, and this red line is the 2-year moving average as well, but multiplied by 5. So you can see why it's called the 2-year moving average multiplier. And essentially speaking, every time Bitcoin goes below this moving average, the 2-year moving average, we see a period where this tool is suggesting to us that there are outsized returns to be made by accumulating Bitcoin at around these regions, and these regions are marked in green. On the flip side of that is every time Bitcoin goes above the red moving average, the 2-year moving average multiplied by 5, every time we see Bitcoin go above this moving average, we see a general good area to just take profit on our Bitcoin investments, because then we see the bull market tops out and then price declines. And we've seen this every time we've deviated above this red line over here. So basically speaking, every time Bitcoin dips below this green 2-year moving average, we see a good outsized return on our investment by accumulating Bitcoin here. And every time Bitcoin goes beyond the red level, the red moving average, we see a good area to take profit. And in terms of psychology, you can think about it in terms of market psychology as well. So this is where we see maximum fear, extreme fear, maximum pessimism. And every time we see Bitcoin go beyond the red level here, we see extreme greed and maximum optimism, like we're seeing over here. And that, of course, precedes a sell-off. And of course, maximum extreme pessimism as we see Bitcoin's price go towards the upside. So essentially speaking, this is a low risk, high reward setup. Every time we see Bitcoin move around here and develop this green area, this is a low risk, high reward setup as per the investor tool right over here. And this in fact is a high risk, low reward setup because the gains to be made, price is already overextended, so the gains to be made are quite limited, and in fact that risk is too high. It's not even worth the risk buying at these levels. So now that we've explained the Bitcoin investor tool, what it means, how to potentially use it, we can see that right over here Bitcoin's price has broken down from the 2-year moving average, and the 2-year moving average at these current prices is around 7,200. So it's quite interesting to see that we have broken down from it. We've reached 3,800 and there is a little bit of a flicking up already. This is something to watch out for going forward. Is this going to turn into a ranging period like we've seen in the past before? A ranging period like we've seen in the past before? Or a even double bottoming ranging period like we've seen in the past before? So that's something we need to look for, and it's something I tied in and spoke about in yesterday's video about whether the bull market is over. This is something we have to look out for, whether Bitcoin's going to make a ranging period. Is it going to form an accumulation period which would produce these outsized potential rewards that we've been talking about whenever bargain hunters tend to accumulate within these areas, these green areas? So let's delve deep into this. Let's have a look at how deep Bitcoin's price has delved and retraced below the 2-year moving average every single time. Let's have a look at that and let's see, based on that analysis, where the Bitcoin bottom could potentially be. So now we're going to be looking at the first decline on the breakdown from the 2-year MA. So this is the level that Bitcoin broke down from. This is going to be the level that Bitcoin broke down from the 2-year moving average. This was $4.35 in 2019. 2011. So if we cycle here, this is the area, this is the moment we're looking for. So to just zoom in, this is $4.35, where we broke down from the 2-year moving average, and then of course we came up afterwards, but there was a ranging period before then. So we're talking about that period now. Let's dive in to talking about the retrace that happened. 54% retrace since breaking down from the 2-year moving average in 2011. Very interesting. Okay, let's move on and let's have a look at the decline on the breakdown from the 2-year moving average in 2014 and 15. This is 350. This is the breakdown from the 2-year moving average. So if we cycle back, this is the area we're talking about. So let's zoom in. This is going to be 350, roughly speaking, where we see a breakdown. And then this breakdown actually precedes a ranging period where we see a higher low. So premium buying. We see a capitulation wick and then a higher low. People are buying Bitcoin at a higher price relative to this capitulation low. So higher low premium buying behavior at this ranging period, but that goes beyond the case because what we're looking at is the psychology of the retrace. 53% again. So we've seen it in 2011, 54%. We've seen it in 2014, 2015, 54% again. And in 2018, it's slightly different. But the thing I'd like to point out here is that it also occurs around November to December. So we've seen in 2014, 2015, this retrace occurs from around November to December. And of course, the decline in 2011 occurred in October 2011. So you're seeing that this final quarter for Bitcoin doesn't tend to be a good one. That's an interesting thing to bear in mind. Also over here, again, November, December of 2018, where we're seeing a decline upon breaking down from the 2-year moving average, which is 5,574. A 43% retrace towards the downside. So that's essentially this moment, right? This is the moment where we see that happening. 5,000, roughly speaking, is where price was when it was touching the 2-year moving average. A breakdown led to a 43% retrace from there. Now we're seeing this happen once again. What's the percentage retrace right over there after losing the 2-year moving average? Let's dive in. Let's have a look at it. What is that number? It's 45%. It's 45% in 2020, so most recently 46% retrace to around 3,800 ever since it broke down from 7,232, which was the 2-year moving average support. What can we say from this? It's 46% here, the retrace. 44% the retrace in 2018. 54% in 2014, 15, and 54% again in 2011. What can we say here? We only have a few data points. That's always going to be a limitation, but this is something that really interests me. We're seeing a few tendencies already. So just by looking at these levels and these breakdowns, this is the conclusion that we can come to. Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? One answer is potentially yes. It might be too late to catch the bottom, because if we think about 46 or 44% being the bottom of the retrace, then we might have seen the bottom already. But the good news to that is we could see a potential ranging period occur, like we've seen many times before already. We see a ranging period occur every time we see a breakdown from the 2-year moving average. So we see a ranging period. We see some time for us to accumulate Bitcoin in these very attractive levels where maximum fear is prevailing, where maximum pessimism is predominant. Those are the emotions that go through the minds of investors while price is in these outsized return areas. So if the retrace is 44 to 46%, it might be the bottom. It might be the bottom, but that isn't bad news because we might see a ranging period. But on the other hand, what if we could see a retrace of around 53% or even 54%, like we've seen in the past, 2011 and 2014-15. Well, what would that give us in that case? Because that would obviously assume that this recent recovery is only a relief rally before we actually see a further leg down to new lows, breaking past 3,800, right? That's what it assumes. If it's going to be a 53 to 54% retrace, we're going to see lower levels. And these are the levels that we could potentially see. 3,300 to 3,400. A 53% retrace would be 3,400 and a 54% retrace would be 3,300, roughly speaking. So this is the green area. That would assume a further leg down. So if we see a weak reaction here, on this recent relief rally, then we could actually see further downside. But that downside doesn't have to occur by making a new low. Remember, it can be a ranging period that we tend to see because we see this historically, right? We see this historically, we've covered this. So even if we don't have enough buy volume to prop price up and move it forwards, and it has to actually extinguish and then go to the downside and retrace this relief, we might not necessarily see new lows. We could, of course, because that would be part of a historical tendency. But the flip side of that, we've also seen ranging periods. So we could see a higher low form. We could see consolidation around this sort of area, but not breaking down from this capitulation low of 3,800. So those are some things to bear in mind. So is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Well, if you're thinking about it in terms of the macro perspective, so this accumulation zone and then the top of the bull market, if you're thinking about it in terms of the entire market cycle, is it too late to buy Bitcoin now? Of course not. Of course not, because we are in an era of outsized returns relative to historical price action. So it isn't too late to buy Bitcoin. But if you want to conceptualize whether it's late to buy Bitcoin relative to a potential bottom, so let's say we've missed this bottom by that capitulation wick going to 3,800. Let's say we've missed that bottom. Is it too late to potentially be buying Bitcoin at around these regions? On a micro scale, it might seem like we're missing out, right? Because we're not catching the bottom. We're not getting the best accumulation price, right? It's only slightly above the bottom. So on a micro scale, it might feel like it's too late. But if we zoom out at this point in time, it's never too late. What we need to think about is that short-term price fluctuations, if we're focusing on and zooming in so much that we miss the forest for the trees, we're zooming into these short-term price fluctuations. This is robbing us of our perspective, which we need to gain by zooming out. It's not too late to buy Bitcoin, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you found this video enjoyable. Leave a like if you found it valuable. Of course, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I'm more than happy to be pumping out this content on a daily basis for your enjoyment and also to add value to you. So if you found value in this video, please consider dropping a like, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I'm Rekt Capital. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak soon.